Hey, movie listeners. My name's John. I'm a filmmaker.
My name's Matt. I'm a doctor. I got tired of John always saying, "You haven't seen this movie?"
He hadn't, though. That's the crazy thing. He hadn't. So I had to put together a list of 100 movies, and that's the movie list. And we're going through it together. And today's movie is Death at a Funeral. It's the, reiterating, it's the white version, right? It is the, yeah, I guess it has, I don't know if there's some color in the UK version, but it's not the American version, is the UK 2007 version, directed by Frank Oz. And great movie, man. Man, I'm excited about this one.
So am I, man. I mean, as far as these movies go, this has got to be the funniest one we've done so far, and I don't think it's close.
It's wacky. It's a wacky one. Yeah, I mean, and again, just to further reiterate, this is the 2007 version. Came out in the UK originally, to distinguish from the 2010 version, which came out in America. Chris Rock. So you have like the UK black comedy, and then you have like an actual black comedy. And so,
hold on, wait, what do you mean?
They're both black comedies. It's just one of them is literally a black comedy.
I guess another kind of black comedy.
It's a racial black comedy, and one of them is more of a tonal black comedy.
You're asking me if I'm sure I know what my father looks like?
No, people make mistakes in a time of grief, Aaron.
Look at the damn body, man.
Oh, shit.
You got Jackie Chan in there.
Okay, listen.
Come on, Brian.
But the crazy thing is, as I was like looking up this stuff, these are not the only two versions of this movie.
Really?
So there is another version, I don't want to get the pronunciation right here, called Un Funeral de Locos.
Tiempo. Haz el favor de mirar adentro. Ahora le traemos a su padre.
A year before that came out Daddy Cool, the Bollywood version of Death at a Funeral. I have skimmed through all of these movies. I went ahead and watched the American version. I skimmed through all of them. They're the same movie. It's like beat for beat, the same movie. Now, obviously, I don't speak Hindi, speak a little bit of Spanish, but, not enough to get all the jokes. But it is beat for beat the same movie that they have now remade 4 times. So,
I mean, if the formula works,
that's right. That's right.
Why change it?
That's right, man. If the British do anything well, it is just spread into all the world. So the British Empire is still not asleep. It's in India, it's in America, and the freaking New World. We're trying to get them out, but they're finding their way in still.
So the one that we watched was the original one.
No. We're supposed to be doing the Bollywood version. You watched the Bollywood. Yeah, as far as I know, the one we watched is the original version. That was just replicated, But the thing is that, like, what do they say? Like, the greatest form of flattery is imitation, or whatever. Right. That's proven in this movie. It's so good that it just the jokes and the situation of it is so good that it makes sense that everybody would want to steal it and just remake it in their language.
I mean, I've actually started filming my own version of it.
We should.
It's that good.
If you guys haven't seen it, now's your chance before they remake it again. Maybe they'll do a Korean version soon on Netflix. But if you haven't seen it, go click the link, go watch it, hit pause here, come back. We'll still be here when you get back. And, if we feel like we've given you a smile, that's your challenge. If we make you smile or chuckle, then we've earned a subscribe here and maybe a comment. You can comment, chuckle.
Or just like it. I'd settle for a like.
Honestly, even if you just even if you didn't hit the like button, if you just actually liked it, that would
just if you feel that in your heart,
if you feel like
that's all
you like
going.
it, then that's enough for me. But if you haven't seen it, let me catch you up on the 2007 version and probably all the other versions. Death at a Funeral. Death at a Funeral follows Daniel, played by Matthew McFadden, a man just trying to host a dignified funeral for his father. The day quickly unravels when a guest named Simon, played by Alan Tudyk, accidentally takes the wrong drugs, and an unexpected stranger, Peter Dinklage, arrives with a shocking secret about the deceased. As the family scrambles to stay polite and avoid making a scene, the funeral descends into escalating embarrassment and chaos. The comedy comes not from big reactions, but from everyone trying far too hard to keep everything under control when it clearly is not. All right, a lot to talk about. Matt, first time watching Death at a Funeral. Tell me about it.
Right. So there is a lot of characters in this movie.
Yep.
And everybody kind of has their own story arc. And for every single character in their story arc, everything that can go wrong does.
Yeah.
It's just like that's the theme of the movie. Is like if something can happen that doesn't go your way, it's happening. There is a lot of really good acting in this movie. And I think this is one movie where just in watching it, you feel like this must have been a blast to make this movie. Like the fact that they ever had a take that worked without everybody in the scene just crying, laughing is amazing to me.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks a lot to the movie. And then just the casting of this movie, I think was just spot on. Like from all of the characters. So you've got Daniel, who's kind of like the main character of the movie, and he just gets dumped on the whole time in every way. And he just plays that so well. This he's a very kind of almost stoic, straight character, and he just is trying his best to roll with the punches and just keeps getting pummeled down, but he never reacts really big, which in a certain way is almost unsatisfying, but that really works with the tone of the film.
Right. It builds the tension,
got,
right? And you get frustrated for him.
Yeah. And then you've got his brother, Robert, who is, he's just only cares about himself. He's this very successful author, and his brother's like just living in his shadow and trying to be a writer in his own right and all this. He just doesn't care. He spends all his money on first class tickets and his penthouse in New York. And, his brother's like, hey, you agreed to pay for half of the funeral. And he's like, I did? What? You know how expensive first class is? So it's just like kind of sets the tone for his character for the movie, just a self-involved guy. And then you've got Alan Tudyk and his character, like
Simon.
Exactly. Yeah. Simon is probably, of all the casting in the movie, I think that is the one where they knocked it out of the park. I don't know any other actor who could have played this as well and as comically as Alan Tudyk did.
Yeah.
I mean, he just was perfect for it. He made the movie, I think.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
Yeah. I don't know the story of how they found him, but honestly, it's like if you would have told me that like they got Alan Tudyk and was like, we need to find a movie to build around him, and they just formed this story, I would totally believe it. Just because he literally does. The whole movie revolves around him.
Yes.
He's not even the main character by any stretch.
He moves the plot along in all the right times.
Yeah.
And he plays like he's only like normal for like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Right. You forget about that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so his whole character is just, this kind of on another planet guy.
Right.
Which is great. I think he did it so well. So yeah, casting in this movie is great. Acting was great. It was just absolutely fun the whole time. And like I said, just the funniest one we've done so far by a mile.
Yeah. No, fully agree. Fun is perfect. I mean, it's chaos. It's fun. It's, I think the thing I love about British humor is that it doesn't feel like it has to like jam the jokes down your throat, right? It allows time to let jokes breathe, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the best example of that is the first like few minutes of the movie, when obviously it's about a funeral. This Daniel character, his father's passed away, and they bring in the casket and they show him the body.
Who's this?
Pardon me?
That's not my father.
Oh, shit, we've taken the wrong one.
And there's like a good like 10-second pause there before they reveal. He's like, who's this? That's not my father. Oh shit, we've got the wrong one. And then the music starts playing, right? So they allow like the silence really, really, Frank Oz, the
Right.
director, does an amazing job of letting that silence play. Which, by the way, I don't know if you caught, this is the Frank Oz. This is like Fozzie Bear, Yoda Frank Oz. So this is the voice of Yoda, the voice of Fozzie, like he's the Muppets. Frank Oz is the director of this movie.
Really?
Yep. So
that's actually very interesting.
Yeah. And so I mean, he's had a great like people don't talk about it a lot. He's had a great directing career outside of them. I mean, I think he did Muppets Take Manhattan, but he's done Little Shop of Horrors. He did Ending in the Cupboard. He did What About Bob, which I love. He did Bowfinger, which is one of my favorites. Have you seen Bowfinger? All right, we're gonna take a look at the list. That's got to go on there. Bowfinger's a freaking great movie, dude. I want to like talk about it right now, but I know we need to keep moving on this.
Right.
But great director, pick scripts great, and nailed this one. So yeah, just the contrast of it, the contrast of them allowing, I think situational comedy. When you hear like a sitcom, it's situational comedy, right? The Brits do that better than anybody, I think, because they do it like, I call it like fishbowl comedy, right? In the sense of the audience truly is just watching all this stuff kind of unfold. And it's not in a way in that's like, okay, here this happens and this happens. To an extent, they allow the audience to be ahead of the characters, right? So the audience at all times knows more than the characters. And the characters aren't like diving headfirst into that because that's not how we respond as humans. The whole time, everybody's trying to keep things under control. They're trying to keep things calm and not escalate it, which is way more human.
It gives you also the sense of superiority, which is one of the main like pillars of comedy.
Right.
Like one of the main things that's funny is that you know more than they do, and so you're like above them in a certain way.
Exactly. The humor comes from just the containment of it, not the chaos. It comes from like, I think all the jokes work because their decisions are made in like just keeping things in decorum, right? They're just in the name of Britishness. Everything has to be controlled. And so because of that, everything's so out of control, which I think is what really makes it a fun situation.
Yeah. And speaking to British comedy, my favorite television show of all time is The IT Crowd. Like,
solid.
I've watched that whole show like 9 times. I love it. It's my favorite style of humor.
Great writing. Also good advice. Like if you ever have anything with technology, have you tried turning it off and turning it on again? Right. They have the machine that's like, they don't even do anything. They just have the machine.
Hello, IT. Have you tried turning it off and on again? Are you sure it's plugged in?
Oh, it's a great show. I love Chris O'Dowd too. Anything with Chris O'Dowd, I'm going to watch. I don't know if we have any Chris O'Dowds on the list, but solid.
Maybe not. Before we move on, that opening, so where they bring the casket in, that is the opening scene of the whole movie, where they bring the wrong body in.
Yep.
But then, like, right after that, the follow-up is they bring in the next casket, and when they open it up, they say, "Is this your father, sir?"
They're so nervous.
They're not sure.
Just a trial basis. Oh,
is this your father?
I was thinking about that situation. Like anybody who's ever actually like lost somebody, if they brought the wrong person, yeah. That's obviously one of the obvious differences in like the black version, which I'll be honest, like I know it sounds like kind of hating on it because I kind of hate remakes, and it's just like this was like remade like 2 years after. It's totally unnecessary, but it was freaking funny. I'm not even gonna lie. It is like a almost line for line remake, but it's still freaking funny. I mean, like you got Chris Rock and what's Martin Lawrence, and
isn't Kevin Hart in it?
Kevin Hart plays the guy that brings the casket. And so like I think that scene's a perfect example of just how different they are. They won't, it's like country music, right? Country music will not let a single bar sit. They're going to fill it with a guitar solo or a violin or something. Every single moment is filled with a joke. every joke is expanded into 10 jokes. Like in this one, they lift up the casket and he's like, "That's not your father." And and it cuts to it and it's an Asian man, which is a funny joke. He's like, "Man," Chris Rock's like, "Man, you guys brought Jackie Chan." It's like, which is it's actually funny, but it's so over the top. And
Right. I
this,
mean, well, that's a dynamite
contrast,
cast.
it really is.
Dynamite.
It really
cast.
is. It's a fantastic cast. It's just, I think the biggest complaint I had with it is that I've seen Death at a Funeral, the original, so many times. I've like memorized it, so I know the lines they're doing, and so I can kind of see the decisions that the actors are making. Right? You can like I don't know if they were given the same exact script. I'm sure they rewrote it, but you can see the decisions that the actors are taking the script and doing this, which just kind of takes, it kind of ruins the suspension of disbelief.
Okay, listen. Come on, Brian. You know what my father looks like.
We were very scattered today. This type of thing almost never happens.
Almost never happens?
I said that out loud?
It's not Burger King. You can't just mess up my order.
Please just calm down. I think I know where he is.
You think?
This movie is basically just two hurricanes of chaos that are just colliding, right? So on one side, you have Martha, who is Simon's girlfriend, go to pick up Martha's brother. He's a pharmacist, and he's obviously doing some experimental hallucinogenic type stuff, and he's going to bring it to a friend. That friend, that those pills he puts into a Valium to help Simon calm down. She gives him what she thinks is Valium, and he just starts really going on a trip. So I think that's where a lot of the fun stuff happens. There's on the other side, we'll get into later, is the Peter character, but really there's like two main hurricanes that are just colliding the whole time into what should be a solemn, peaceful day. Simon is in the car. He's just taken the Valium, what he thinks is Valium, which is, I think it said like acid, mescaline, something else, ketamine.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Maybe you can get into it later, but like, I don't know what that swirl of that combination of cocktail of hallucinogens would be doing. But the first, introduction to it is they're riding, and he just turns and he says, "Was there a dog in here just now?"
Did you ever meet Uncle Eddie, Simon? Simon?
Was there a dog in here just now?
What?
Like, what are you talking about?
It's just a great introduction. And again, like Alan Tudyk, I think he's such an underrated actor. I mean, like, obviously, you have him in this. You have, he was Wash in Firefly, which is top 5 favorite shows of all time for me. He's Pirate Steve in Dodgeball. I think most recently, I don't know. He's getting some traction, some attention for his role in the Superman, in James Gunn's Superman. Did you see that?
I did not see James Gunn's Superman.
He's got a great line in it. He plays 4, so he's a robot that's helping Superman, and you don't even see him; it's just his voice. But apparently, he improv this line in which he goes, "And maybe one day you'll give me a name." And Superman goes, "4's a name." And he goes, "So is Gary." Which apparently he improv that line, which is so funny to me. And then the actor who played Superman just like busted out laughing. He's like, "That's in the movie now."
Yeah, I think a lot of that's just probably because Alan Tudyk does so much voiceover work.
Yep.
Like you rarely, like, as far as like what he's done voiceover and what he's done on camera, it's probably like 50-50 or maybe even slightly skewed toward voiceover.
Yep. Yeah. Regardless, I mean, on both sides, he deserves more respect. He is a freaking legend.
Resident Alien, I did enjoy that one because he's an alien pretending to be a doctor, which I find funny.
That's a good one. Yeah, I like Resident Alien.
He has a couple of really great moments. So the one that you're talking about where he's like, was there a dog in here just now? I'm like, what are you talking about? And then he goes, just like, because he's like trying to play it off or something.
Yeah.
And just that little laugh he does is like just it's one of those
little stuff,
flourishes.
Dude. It's the little stuff. It's the facial acting and just the noises that he makes. Dude, when he gets there and he's like realizing how green it is and this garden, and he's playing with the chickens, like they have these like little metal statue chickens. It's the noises that he's making. They're so ridiculous, but like
I love it.
yeah,
I
like
love it.
James Madsen not James. I don't know. I'm probably getting his name wrong, but whatever. The actor in the American version that gets it, he does a good job. But it, again, that's another thing. Just comparing, it's not fair.
Yeah.
I don't know why anyone would take that role to try to go up against Alan Tudyk. He crushed
it's like
it.
playing the Joker after Heath Ledger.
Exactly.
It's
You can
tough.
try to make it different, and there could be some good stuff that you do, but everyone's always going to compare you to that. And no, I think it's a really good illustration.
Thanks. One of my favorite lines of his is when he hugs his like fiance's mom when she's wearing that like thing on her head that he's like mesmerized by, and then he hugs her and he goes, "I'm so sorry about the death."
Simon, this is my house.
Oh. Yes,
I'm so sorry about the death.
He kisses her on the neck, and she goes, "Oh, dude." For me, the cherry on top of that whole scene is when he pulls back and you notice she has this decorative thing on her head,
yeah.
and it has like a feather or whatever. And he looks at, and he touches it, and woo, touches his forehead. Just little things like that, just the little choice that he makes. It's like that wasn't in the script,
Right.
that's pure Alan Tudyk. Who just, is the first introduction of the chaos at this funeral, which that alone is just an amazing concept.
Right. Fantastic. If it was just a funeral movie with one guy on hallucinogens, that's a pretty good premise for a movie by itself.
Yep.
But fortunately for us, it doesn't end there.
It doesn't. So there's other elements. Obviously, we have Simon, we have Uncle Alfie. So Daniel calls his friend Howard, who's a bit of, what's the word for somebody who is afraid they're sick all the time?
He's a hypochondriac.
Hypochondriac. So Howard's a hypochondriac. He's there with his friend Justin, Ewan Brimner, who Justin's only like interested in going for this girl, Martha, and who is Simon's fiance.
Right.
And so Daniel calls Howard and asks if he can go get Uncle Alfie.
That scene is my favorite moment of Howard's, I think, in the whole thing, where he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't mind, of course, yeah, no problem, I'll definitely go get him." And like as soon as he hang up the phone, he's like,
"Shit,
come on!"
And they pull him up, and Justin goes, "Oh, you didn't say he was in a wheelchair." And they cut to Uncle Alfie, and he's like yelling at other people in wheelchairs.
And as they're pulling up, he's honking at these old ladies, and they're like little hover around electric scooters. It's like just the fact that Howard is honking at these old women, like they can't possibly go faster. And he's like acting like, "What are you doing?" There's like the agitation in that car on their way there is like already like an 11 out of 10, and I love that.
Yeah. So Howard and Justin's car, they get Uncle Alfie there, and and basically they're in a fight with Martha over a parking spot. She's like, "Well, I'm family." And so he doesn't get a good parking spot. And Howard's response is, "No, I forgot Uncle Alfie. I should have said I had Uncle Alfie in the car." It's like he doesn't even care about Uncle Alfie. He just wanted to be justified. He just to have the parking spot.
Sorry. Oh, hi, Martha. I was just about to park there, actually.
Yeah, well, are you a relative, Howard?
No, I'm not, but...
Hey, Martha. Who's that?
Oh, my God. We've got Uncle Alfie in the car. I cannot believe I forgot to say we've got Uncle Alfie in the car. All right, keep your hair on. What the hell's going on? Ow!
She barely even looked.
He's fine.
But like in his defense, he has to push him half a mile uphill by himself because was Justin just like walks off without him. He's like, "I gotta go talk to Martha." And so he leaves Howard to deal with Uncle Alfie. I love that.
And the best part of it, he gets to the door, and then Justin like literally doesn't even help him up the stairs. And then Justin grabs him right as Daniel, and Daniel's like, "Oh, thanks, Justin." Howard's just standing there, just like didn't even get
sweat.
the credit.
Comes into the funeral just panting. And it was like, you smell.
I think that those are like the first few examples of like a pretty prevalent theme in the movie, which is basically just everyone's self-centeredness. Right? This is a funeral. It's supposed to be about honoring the dead, and everybody is just obsessed with themselves. Like Howard with his illness, Justin is there for Martha. Robert, you mentioned, Daniel's brother is there. It's just he's flying first class, spending all this money on first class. And there's a character Peter, played by Peter Dinklage. Who is there for another reason, which is the next kind of huge pillar of chaos,
Right.
of this
It's
movie.
our other hurricane.
Yeah, it's just another hurricane, as if those things weren't enough, right? You have freaking like senile Uncle Alfie who's just yelling at everybody and just obscenities. You got Simon who's just completely off his nut right now, poking feathers, and then you got Peter.
It's basically there to extort the family for £15,000 because he had a sort of scandalous relationship with the deceased.
He is the dad's gay lover, and he
Yes.
has evidence of this that he presents to Daniel.
Which is apparently fairly explicit. They unfortunately don't show a set.
But like I love the scene going into that when he's like showing him the pictures, and Daniel has no idea what's going on.
And here we are on top of one of those London buses. It's a terrible picture of me.
So where did you and my dad meet?
Just around. Oh, yes. Here we are at a fancy costume party in Kensington. That's your dad, dressed up as a Roman centurion.
Dude, for some reason, that line is one of the lines that sticks with me the most for like all these years. That's just one that I just think about like probably once a year. Just, is your dad is a Roman centurion? Yeah.
And then, and as he realizes that they were intimate, then Daniel's character like starts looking around at all the art in the room. That's all very,
It's very gay.
It is what it is. And then he steps out of the room, and right as he's stepping out, someone says, "Oh, Daniel, we were just talking about how when we were young, your father used to convince us to go skinny dipping." Like, immediately after that scene.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I love that. I love when he's like, I mean, he's basically like acting so honest. Cause I mean, again, it's going into being self-centered. Like he's like, "Oh, I loved your dad. Now give me $15,000. I'm going to show everyone these pictures." It's like, okay, he's also just there for himself. He doesn't freaking care.
Right.
But he goes, I'm entitled to something. He goes, "How do you think it makes, I didn't get anything." He goes, "How do you think it makes me feel?"
No, I'll tell you how that makes me feel. Cheap. Like a cheap slut.
Daniel's face. Daniel's face when he cuts back to him is just genius acting. Like I know it's like so subtle, but like the scene isn't made, I think, without that reaction.
Yeah.
It's a funny line, but like without that reaction of just like confusion and disgust and just
right.
He's
Just
trying so
bewildered.
hard. He's trying so hard to keep it together. You feel bad for him. You feel bad for Daniel for sure, because like the whole time he's just getting walked all over.
Right. All the weight is on his shoulders. He's clearly the responsible brother, even though he's the less successful of the two.
Yep. His wife's on him the whole time about, I guess they probably got some money, from his father as an inheritance, and she's wanting to put money down as a flat. I guess they'd probably been living there the last few years. I don't know what to save up money or to help out with his, his ailing dad, but she's ready to move on. Which, by the way, actually, Matthew McFadden, who all the women love, apparently. Like, as I was researching, go look at the trailer of this movie. It's just nothing but like women just fawning over him.
And this is Daniel's character?
Daniel. Yeah, Daniel.
Yeah,
All of them in the movie. I think he's Mr. Darcy. That's why. So he's Mr. Darcy in Pride and Prejudice, and so I think that's probably has something to do with it. But Matthew McFadyen and Keely Hawes, who plays his wife in the movie, they're actually married in real life. That's actually
really?
his. Yeah, and she was pregnant with their third kid while they were filming this. So I a little bit of realism there that you feel. They feel like a real married couple because they
do.
are.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Real method acting. He went deep on this one. So he's
Very
like,
deep.
I have to have 3 children before I can do a role.
Before I can really feel it.
Keira Knightley is pissed. She's like, Mr. Darcy, you said. We're going all over the place in the British movies on this one. But yeah, she's really pushing him to get the flat, and he's really just kind of getting pushed every which way. I love like in the first 30 minutes of the movie, like he's not comfortable in his own home. Like in the first 30 minutes, I think he says, "Can you excuse me, please?" like 4 times. Like he literally, and it's just because people are just rude to him, or they're just they're self-centered, whether his uncle or everyone's just disappointed that his brother, who's the writer, is not doing their eulogy, and that Daniel's doing the eulogy, and he just keeps, my father was an exceptional man. Which is another line that I keep saying to myself over and over.
My father was an exceptional man, yes. I did like when he starts giving the eulogy the first time, because he does give it twice. Or I guess 3 times even. When he starts giving it the first time, before he starts, he says that of his father, it seems he has more friends now that he's dead than when he was alive.
Yeah.
And then the room is like absolutely silent. And then Simon starts just like busting out laughing because he's like high as a kite. Which is fantastic. I love that. That's like the perfect way to kind of illustrate. But like he's able to calm it back down again until, of course, he thinks that there's somebody moving in the coffin.
Yep. Yeah, I mean the coffin obviously is some foreshadowing there. There's a writing term, basically it's called Chekhov's gun, which is essentially if you see a gun in the first act, it's going to go off by act 3, right? So the bottle of Valium is presented pretty early as the audience knowing more.
The bottle of Valium?
The Valium, yeah. So knowing that the brother put the drugs in the Valium, the audience is now, okay, that's Chekhov's gun. And so you're essentially like, all right, it goes off pretty much immediately. But that gun goes off several times throughout the whole movie. This is Chekhov's machine gun. Like this thing is just like splattering this movie. So the first, obviously Simon's like been dosed with it. And it's been like kind of weird isms, but then really the gun goes off. And that scene where he thinks he hears something moving
inside the coffin.
in the coffin.
Dad was 18. He left home following an argument with his father.
The coffin is moving, I tell you! There's someone alive in there!
Simon, where are you going?
Simon,
what are you doing?
What are you doing? Get away from me! What are you doing? Let
And he lifts the lid and the body flops out. And then the whole funeral has to take a break. And like the reverend's like, we should really get this going again. I've got an appointment later. And then they keep telling him, like the whole movie, they tell him, just give us 5 minutes. They tell him that I think at least 3 times in the movie.
Yeah.
And they take like hours resolving whatever's going on. But when the coffin flips and then everybody kind of has to do a reset. And then they go outside and they're trying to calm down Simon. And then they tell him that he's been dosed with a hallucinogen. And he freaks out, and then he feels like he has to throw up, and he runs to the bathroom and locks himself in.
It turns out that it wasn't actually Valium at all. Can you hear me?
Hello?
And he locks himself in the bathroom, strips off all his clothes, goes out on the roof. and it gets real crazy. But he does come back in and kind of saves the day in a certain way.
Right.
Later by bringing everybody out. But one thing I liked about that little sequence, number one, he almost throws up, which is something that actually does happen with mescaline, was one of the 3 things that was in that drug. But then he has like a moment of clarity where he like looks in the mirror. He's like, okay, this is who you are. You know, you've only got a little longer. They said it might be 8 hours, and it's already been. He looks at his watch. He's like, I only have 7 hours.
Simon, where's my watch? Oh!
Please open the door.
It's already been...
Simon, open the door.
7 hours to go.
Simon.
It's nothing to worry about.
He's like, oh no. It's only been 1 hour. And like when you're on those meds, you get like a really distorted sense of time. So for him, it's probably felt like it's been a whole day or days.
Yeah.
And he realizes he's 1/8 of the way through. He was like, oh my gosh, it's gonna take forever. And then he goes out on the roof, and I just wanted to say, Alan Tudyk was in pretty great shape in this movie.
He's got a nice bum. He's got a nice bum, to use the British term.
Everyone's always talking about Brad Pitt Fight Club.
Yep.
When I get my own personal trainer, I'm gonna tell him, forget Brad Pitt Fight Club. I want Alan Tudyk Death at a Funeral physique.
That's a solid.
Give me that.
That's a solid choice. Very, very attainable too, I feel like.
I mean, yeah, maybe a hot take, but different kind of hot. You know what I'm saying?
I like that. One of the funny jokes in the American version, when the doctor comes out, and he's like, Dad, he's on Valium. He had a bad reaction. And the doctor in the British version is like, Valium. And in the American version, he goes, Valium. He goes, your mother was on Valium for 40 years. She didn't ever knock over any caskets.
Very funny.
That's pretty good.
Valium is a sedative.
Yeah,
which we mentioned in the Bronson episode. But
yeah,
just to recap, it's a sedative and it knocks down anxiety. So most people just chills them out. It never does that.
If you guys missed the Bronson episode, go back. We talk about Valium. We talk about what was the other one?
Prison. No, Xanax.
Xanax. Yeah. So check it out. So then essentially this pause in the funeral has given an opportunity for Peter to get alone with Daniel, get all this stuff out. And he's going back and forth with Robert, his brother, on whether or not to pay him. I feel like I like this because it's finally a chance where Daniel can kind of stand up for himself. And he does it, unfortunately, because Peter starts kind of crapping on his book a little bit. He's like, I tried writing. It didn't work for me either.
And then immediately he's like, oh, by the way, Robert, huge fan of yours.
Yeah.
Your most recent novel.
Dude, Peter Dinklage keeps up with them. Like Alan Tudyk and Peter Dinklage are the only Americans, in this.
I thought Peter Dinklage was British playing an American.
He is an American. He's born in America. Yep. I know. Pretty impressed. Probably because most of the roles you heard him, are Tyrion Lannister, which that's another crazy thing. In all of this, he's Tyrion famously in Game of Thrones, but Uncle Alfie is Aemon Targaryen. So there's 2 Game of Thrones in this.
I think he did it so well. He does a lot of kind of similar, very facial acting in this movie.
Yes.
Where there's a lot of expressions because he's trying to like convey me and your dad.
Right.
Right. It's all right here.
It's like unashamed, and then also like he has some sympathy for Daniel, I think, a little bit. Like he knows that this is a lot to take. You know? Well, interesting thing about this too is that Frank Oz said that Peter wasn't originally written as a dwarf. So like it was just gonna be like, okay, here was his dad's gay lover, and then Peter Dinklage, I guess, just auditioned and was just so perfect And I think that adds a whole other chaotic, comedic element to it of just the shock.
What are you saying? That the dad is a gay? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That was the reoccurring joke. Robert says it. I think his wife says it.
Right.
All this stuff. Dad was a gay. But then obviously you label on the pile on the fact that he's a dwarf. It's a lot to take. It's a lot to
They
take.
tried to make it as unexpected as possible for the family.
Yeah.
Like, not only was your dad not who you thought he was, but like also other things about the scenario that are unusual. They just kind of try to shove it all in to make it as unexpected as possible. And I think they did it in like the most comedic possible. It's just so funny. And they keep like, do you remember the small fellow, the little guy that I was talking to you about earlier?
Yeah.
who was staring at me. Well, yeah, apparently he was Dad's lover, and he wants 15,000 pounds. Yeah, and so they end up after in that scene when it's both of the brothers in the room, and they're trying to talk through like, all right, let's just write him the check and be done with it. So he sits down, starts writing, and that's when he says this thing about, the writing didn't work out for me either. Immediately compliments the brother, and then Daniel's like, nope, not doing it. Rips up the check.
Yeah.
Sorry. Why should I do
Daniel.
that?
Go,
I'm not
Daniel.
gonna do it. And then Robert is like, "What are you doing?" And then Peter starts walking out of the room. I go, "I'm gonna go tell everybody." And Robert like starts fighting him.
Please get out of my way. Let's just discuss this a minute. There is nothing to discuss. Get out of my way. No.
Just like physically like tackled him. He was like, "Get some rope." And Daniel's like, "Rope? Where am I gonna find rope?" And anyway, they find like the curtain ties and tie him up, shove a tie in his mouth.
Yeah. So in this time though, I guess in the chaos, Martha's brother has lost the Valium, right? Howard finds the Valium, and I think he knows he's looking for it, so he just kind of shoves it in his pocket. And then Howard
still
is the
thinks
one.
it's Valium.
Right, yeah. Everybody thinks it's Valium except for, I think Martha and I guess Simon now, and Martha's brother. And so Howard is the one who walks in on them first and sees them like, tackling this dwarf, and he has us tied up. He's like, why is he tied up? He's having a seizure. Why? Okay.
Why is he tied up? Right.
He just buys in immediately.
Well, they say he's having a seizure first, and then he asks, why is he tied up? They're like, all right.
So they shove Valium down Peter's throat to calm him down.
5 of them. Valium.
Dude, again, another great moment of just direction when they realize together, when Martha's brother comes in and they realize together that what they have given him is not Valium. And he goes, wait, you're saying the guy who just tipped over Dad's casket had one of these?
It's not actually Valium. It's acid, mostly a little bit. What? Simon took one of these by mistake. That's why he's been acting like he's off his box.
Come on, Dad, what are you doing with this? For a friend. Hang on a minute. You were telling us that Martha's boyfriend who knocked over our father's coffin had just one of these things. And you gave him how many? 5. Oh, Howard.
Right.
Such a good moment. It's such just that chorus of sighs as soon as they say 5. That's how I would imagine like the audience reacting when they hear 5.
Right.
And
then, I mean, it's it's Martha's brother. What is his name?
Troy.
Wait.
Troy,
yes. Yeah, so Troy, he's like, even if it was Valium, you shouldn't give him 5 of them. Don't you know anything?
And Peter's hearing all of this.
Right.
He's tied up, but he's hearing all of this.
Right.
And he goes,
was he going to die? And he says, I shouldn't think so. He's not sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, that does kind of get us into sort of my medical take on this, which is interesting. So I will say, before I get into what I want to talk about, in this movie, they do have a head trauma followed by unconsciousness that is actually truer to life. So I'll actually let him get this one.
Okay, that's going to be my question. So, okay.
Right.
Check.
So he's tripping, he's jumping on the couch and he falls, he knocks his head, he hits the back of his head and loses consciousness. And then he comes to later And we all we have is Troy checking his pulse to say, "I think he's dead," and we don't know his skill level. He's a
Real quick,
pharmacy student.
can I pause it because that's one of my favorite lines in the movie. He goes, I don't know, just poke him. Howard goes, poke him.
Pinch him.
He goes,
Pinch him.
He goes, I call his name. He goes, I don't know his name. He goes, try Philip. Long pause. Philip.
And he doesn't answer, and they say, "Well, maybe it wasn't Philip."
Try Philip.
And, the thing that's wrong is they got the name wrong.
That's why he's
Maybe
not
something
answering.
else. Yeah.
It's not because he just hit the back of his head on the corner of a glass table. It's because they got his name wrong.
Fantastic.
Oh, sorry. Continue.
Yeah. So I'll give him a pass on this one. So that if somebody hits their head and loses consciousness, that is essentially how it happens. This isn't somebody being like, "Hey, you're being bothersome," punch, and then they go out, and then the guy wakes up and he's fine. This is much more true to life. But so hallucinogens, because that's kind of the topic of the movie, and they specifically mentioned acid, which is basically LSD, mescaline, and then ketamine. So the first two, so LSD is probably doing most of the legwork here. Mescaline, which is derived from a cactus. I think it's peyote.
Oh, okay.
Is the other name for
I didn't
it?
know this. Yeah.
So it's the same thing. That one, usually you eat the dried cactus, and usually that one you throw up before the hallucinogenic effect hits you, almost always. And then ketamine is actually has some medical use. We'll use that one sometimes for anesthesia. It's what we call a dissociative anesthetic.
Mm.
So it's almost like it separates your consciousness from your body or something like that. But in lower doses, it can be used as a hallucinogen. So basically, there's 3 different styles of hallucinogen. Usually the recreational doses are much lower than what you would encounter in something that would actually be physically dangerous. There's some common medications that can make things like LSD more dangerous, namely things like antidepressants. But basically, these things raise your serotonin and your glutamate levels in your brain, and they make you see things and experience expansiveness, which I guess you have to actually experience that one to know what it's talking about. Synesthesia, where you hear colors and feel sounds and all kinds of weird stuff. With some of them, most people maintain their understanding that this is a hallucination. So that moment of clarity where Simon looks in the mirror, is like, "Your name is Simon.
Right.
You're a solicitor. You can do this." That's
he's
kinda
getting
true
the
to
toilet.
life.
He's just rolling the toilet paper.
Right. Join the others.
Yes. Keep coming, you. Join the others. Join the others. Oh, yeah. Oh.
I love that part.
Join the others. You know that's all just Alan Tudyk, just being Alan Tudyk.
Improvising, yeah.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of real. And most hallucinogens and recreational doses, interestingly, are not dangerous. The molecules themselves are not dangerous. What's dangerous is that you end up taking all your clothes off, climbing on a roof, and threatening to jump off, or diving in a pool and drowning. So people do get hurt using these things commonly.
Yeah.
But if there is to be an injury, that's how it's going to happen. Almost always, it's not the drug itself that's hurting the person, again, unless they're taking other things like antidepressants, which can cause something called serotonin syndrome, where serotonin is really high, and then your body heats way up, and your blood pressure goes to the moon, and your brain freaks out, and your heart doesn't do so great. So it can be dangerous, but the recreational dose versus the dangerous dose are pretty far apart. Taking 5 of them, you get pretty darn close, depending on how much LSD you put in there. So, with how much you put in there,
you sin
exactly
to the netherworld.
So and when you take that,
who
much
knows what
ketamine,
Peter's seeing,
right? And he took enough ketamine where he might basically his mind might be over here and his body's over there, and he's on another planet.
Is it deadly? Could it be deadly?
Yeah,
Just
like I said,
alone?
in in those doses, like I said, probably what the most dangerous may be the LSD at that dosage.
Yeah.
Just because it can cause problems with your heart function, your brain function, and then again, serotonin syndrome at those doses potentially. So technically, LSD doesn't raise your serotonin level. It stimulates the same receptors, but it can cause the same syndrome, which can be very, very dangerous. So we don't know how much he got in those pills because they're made by Troy. So who knows how much was in there? But if you take 5 of them, you could get to actually very dangerous levels of those medications or drugs.
So he pretty much dies immediately, but not from the drugs, just from bouncing on the couch. Like you were
And the
saying,
head trauma.
that's the big danger is the head trauma.
Exactly. So that is also true to life.
And they didn't know what his name was. And then Uncle Alfie, is talking to Robert, or no, not to Robert, to Justin. Justin's sad and he's having girl problems. He's like, you actually get a sense of you get a little bit of Uncle Alfie. He's like telling a story about, girls. And you're like, okay, let's get some backstory. And he just stops. He goes, I got to shit. So they wheel him. Apparently, this is my mini right? This beautiful like manor home, and the only bathroom on the first floor is in this office.
And the study,
a little mini right on that one. But anyway, just a little real estate right. The only bathroom on the first floor is actually he's knocking on there is in this study where the his body, Peter's body is, and he's knocking on it and he goes, go upstairs. Howard goes, go upstairs. She's like, I'm in a wheelchair, you idiot. So they have to hide him, wheel Uncle Alfie into the bathroom, and then poor Howard,
poops on Howard's hand, and Howard freaks out. And then Troy leaves Peter for a second, goes in the bathroom, tells him he's got poop on his face. And Howard, the hypochondriac, is like, ah!
Which honestly, I don't think you need to be a hypochondriac to have that reaction. If an old man literally shits on your hand, like it's pretty bad.
But this is one of my real rights.
Okay.
Uncle Alfie, after he poops, just like shuts down for like a very long time. He's just sitting there in the background, head down. Like unresponsive.
Right. Yeah.
What happened to him? Medically speaking, people pass out when they poop all the time. So that's what I think may have happened. He had a little, we call vasovagal syncope, the pressure when you poop, and then your nervous system flips the other way, and then your pressure drops and you conk out. So I mean, he just turned off after he pooped for like 15 minutes, long enough for Peter to kill himself. But my
Didn't
mistake.
take much time, but
Well, they thought he did anyways.
Right.
And then for them to like leave the room, get that whole thing figured out, and then like decide that they're going to try to bury him with their dad in the coffin. And then
they put him the face like crisscross like that. He goes, I think in a way, this is what Dad would have wanted.
And then like they ultimately flip him over so that Peter's face up with his legs on either side of their dad. And then one of my favorite moments of the whole movie is Robert goes, "Bye, Dad," before he closes the coffin, and Peter's legs are on either side of his face. Just side by side of like the somber nature of saying bye to your father and the ridiculousness.
Dwarf legs helping around and just straddling his head. Oh man. So
Crazy.
Everybody comes back in and we mentioned it. This is a double barrel Chekhov's gun, because obviously, we believe Peter's dead. He is completely laced to this stuff. And you in the first act, I think the first act break is when Simon knocks over the the coffin, and so they're able to get Simon down off of the roof. Martha tells him that she's having a baby, which I think is enough to snap him out of it, get him down, and they're continuing the funeral, and you start hearing the knocking on the coffin.
And
Which
I was just gonna say that moment where the first knock on the coffin is the best acting in the whole movie because then they pan the camera around or they show everybody's face who knows that Peter's in there and they all just like clench up. And Daniel kind of stammers and tries to restart his speach. And
my
like
father was an exceptional man.
that moment is so visceral. You're just like, the acting is absolutely perfect.
And Simon goes, I knew it. I told you. He's justified that there's somebody in the coffin. There's somebody alive in there. And then when Peter busts out, and his eyes, he looks like a zombie. He's got bloodshot eyes, and he literally just looks like a monster. He looks like a gremlin that is just busting out of this thing. Dude, I don't know how the mom, made it through. Because obviously they start attacking him to get him out. He sees the dad and he's crying, over his dead lover, and then they pull him off. The pictures end up falling out of his picture anyway. The mom sees the pictures and decides to attack Peter. Just chaos on chaos on chaos. And then finally Daniel's moment, he yells out,
My father was an exceptional man!
which is actually an amazing moment.
It is.
Of a little bit of finally Daniel growing a spine, and just he's had enough. And also I think he is beyond his father, beyond his father's legacy kind of getting tarnished like that. So he's able to give an amazing speech that just comes from honesty. Dad wasn't perfect. None of us are perfect. But he loved his kids and he loved his family, and he tried, in everything he did. And so it actually is, it's kind of something that everybody needed to hear. Everybody this whole time is just trying to kind of put on this, like I said, the Britishness is about just putting on the best face,
right? Stiff upper lip,
the stiff upper lip, and none of them have it together. And so just a final moment of just kind of saying, you know what, Dad didn't have it all together. He wasn't perfect.
We're all just people.
Exactly. Yeah. And was able to just kind of be true to it.
And I love that kind of, it all happens right in the last 10 minutes of the movie. And that brings Robert and Daniel, who've been kind of opposed almost the whole movie.
Right.
To reconcile kind of at the end where Robert is like, hey man, that speech was actually really impressive. And then Daniel's like, hey, would you mind reading my manuscript and tell me what you think? So that's the one thing he's been so reluctant to do for his character development.
Right.
And so they kind of reconcile at the end. Before I forget, I noticed in this movie that the dad, when the first attempt at the eulogy, when Daniel's going through and talking about his dad's life, and it gets super boring, and he talks about how the town he grew up in is now an airport, and blah blah blah.
Right.
But he says that his dad used to tell stories about how him and his friend Bob would ride around through the fields together and stuff, and his older brother is named Robert. After his childhood buddy. Bob.
You think? Yeah, buddy. Okay. All right,
so,
Bob.
Just hold on. Before we get into this, we got a couple more. Oh yeah, rights to cover.
Okay.
For this
all
one.
right. I'm sorry.
So
let's
so here's mine. Right. So number one, if you're at a funeral and the person you came with is high on acid, accidentally, you just go home. You just go home.
Well, she mentions it. She mentions it. She says if
her
we
aunt
leave,
will never speak to her again.
Yeah, right.
Still, come on.
Yeah,
you leave in that situation 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Number two, Uncle Alfie is accidentally given a Valium right at the end of the movie.
Why is everything so effing green?
He winds up on the roof as Simon did, but Alfie is wheelchair bound.
Nah, dude.
And
the
alone.
Drugs. They're powerful drugs.
He must have insane upper body strength to climb his way up there.
Yeah.
So Alfie was holding out on us the whole time.
My oh yeah right was mainly just legally. Like they kidnapped and forced drugs into Peter's mouth, and then he was assaulted by the mom afterwards. And then at the end of the movie, they're just sitting on the couch, and I'm like, "Where's the police? Why wasn't the police immediately called when there's a naked man on top of a house saying I'm gonna jump?" And they're like, "Nah, it's good. Let's just let family handle this one."
Nobody's doing anything to help them. They're all just like
looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Troy runs out and he goes, "Oh, I gotta go out there because I'm screwed if he dies." And he goes out there and he also just looks. I'm like, "You're not doing anything, dude. What are you doing?" A lot of legal inaccuracies here to break down in the movie where, a gay dwarf ends up in a coffin with his lover. So those were the most unrealistic parts of this movie.
Right.
All right. Every week we break down our ratings. I'll kick it off here. A story, I got an 8. I think it, again, it's not a traditional story plot, but I think, like I said, it's so well crafted with all the different elements on top of each other, the chaos stacking, the situational comedy. It's genius. Rewatchability at an 8. I'll be honest. We watched this one together at your house last week. I watched it twice, and then I've watched the American version. Maybe I need to go check out the Bollywood version. I did check it out on YouTube. It does have at least one dance number at the beginning of it. So, we'll get a little Bollywood action in there. But rewatchability is an 8. Emotional impact's a 2. It's not a tearjerker. It's got some good messages in there in terms of family and stuff like that. But that's not what I really think it's known for. The filmmaking craft's a 7. It's nothing masterful in terms I think honestly, if I had to give this a rating, it would be like a 7, but a lot of great movies are 7s. To be honest, I think I'm a 7. If I'm being generous to myself. No, I just think, it's one of those that once they go into the house, they don't ever leave. You don't ever leave as an audience, and you're not ever bored with it. We talked about this a few weeks ago with what was it that I was talking about? Oh, Green Mile. That majority of the movie takes place on this one hall. 99% of the movie takes place in this house, and it doesn't feel small. It feels really big and exciting. And I just think that is excellent filmmaking craft. Overall, I got a 25 out of 40. Pretty solid.
Excellent. So I actually did watch it an additional time after we watched it together. Which obviously gives it some more rewatchability points because it was at least just as fun the second time. But for story on this one, I gave it a 6. I actually tweaked that up a little bit from my initial rating. For rewatchability, I gave it a 7. For emotional impact, I gave it a 4. For a couple of reasons, but I think that they actually use emotion that's implied in the characters as a pretty effective tool to actually enhance the comedy.
Yeah.
Which is just really good writing and really good acting. Like the moment where he says "Bye, Dad" with Peter Dinklage's legs on
right. It is a little emotional.
He's trying to have a real genuine moment.
Right.
And because of that, it makes the legs so much more ridiculous.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. But then the reconciliation right at the end between the brothers, I think was actually really well done. I think that was pretty moving.
Yeah.
And then you have kind of what would that do to you if you're trying to, the speech at the end when he says I'm trying to send my dad off with some dignity.
Yeah.
Is that so much to ask for? And then he gives this beautiful speech. And I think that the way that it ends with kind of an emotional catharsis, I think that was actually very effective. So 4 for me on that, which because so much of it was just chaos and comedy, how emotionally moving can it really be? But I think they did it very well. So a 4 on that. And then for science realism, I gave it a 7. Just because if you're mixing all those things, I don't know, the moments of clarity that Simon? Yeah, Simon had. I don't know if those would be realistic if you're also on ketamine. I'm not sure about that.
You're a solicitor.
Right. If you give somebody 5 of those, I don't know how long you'd have before you're just like catatonic, you know?
Yeah.
But it's very funny to watch. Like Peter Dinklage's performance of that is very, very funny when he just bursts out of the coffin. His eyes are just red, bright. And he's like, you can't use English anymore. He's just clawing at things. Fantastic. So yeah. Anyway, science realism, I give it a 7. I don't really have any specific things that's like terribly off. I just think that's about right for how over the top it kind of was.
All right, fantastic. Well, all around a great watch, guys. Again, if you haven't seen it, I think hopefully we didn't ruin it for you. But to be honest, I've seen this movie so many times. I know what's going to happen, and it's still fun every time. So go check it out. Yeah, we're moving right along down the movie list.
What's next?
So next week is going back to the 80s, breaking out the electric guitar, mullets, and saxophone, because we're getting too old for this shit.
Too old for this shit.
We're doing Lethal Weapon. Lethal Weapon, baby. It's about time that you see Lethal Weapon.
Yeah. It's one that's been on my list for a while. And now it's on our list, I guess.
And now it's on your list. So go click and watch it. We'll see you guys next week on the movie list, having seen Lethal Weapon. And we're going to hang out together, talk about it. If we made you smile, you promised if we made you smile this entire time, you're going to hit subscribe or just like it in your heart.
And just like it in your heart. Or push the like button too.
Yep. And don't do drugs, kids.
Don't. It's not worth it.
We'll see you next week.